ones, and welcome to another Temperance season reading. This one goes for Libra season that starts from September 23rd, around September 23rd to October 22nd. It begins when the sun enters the zodiac sign of Libra, which is around the equinox in the northern hemisphere, and lasts until it transitions into Scorpio. So Libra represents the scales of justice, and by that, this season is all about balance, harmony, and fairness in connections, since Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and relationships. And let's look at the main themes for this season. Of course, balance, harmony. It is a good time to seek balance in our lives, whether between work and rest, independence and partnership, or even logic or emotion. This is a time where the energy of Libra really highlights relationships and partnerships, highlights romance, but also friendships and collaborations. And we usually feel very focused on how we relate to others during this period. So it's no coincidence, right? So it also touches upon the theme of beauty, aesthetics, because Venus, that rules Libra, influences this season and relates us to art, to fashion, to design, and also to self-expression. These things all feel important. It is usually a time when people decide to just change their looks or buy new clothes. Just things like this are very automatically expressed during this transit of Venus of Libra season. And then we have the theme of justice. So these themes of equality, compromise, and doing what it's right come up really strongly during this season, and in the collective arena, in the world stage, we have already been seeing a lot of these themes popping up. And then we have diplomacy and communication here, also a very strong theme where we may feel more inclined towards peacemaking or the need to create more peace, socializing and avoiding unnecessary conflict. It's definitely a lighter energy, more social compared to Virgo season, because Virgo was all about practicality. The details was more a season turned towards self. And now we're gonna be in this always the balanced scales, not only within ourselves, but also in the relationship with the external reality and relationships dynamics, right, with others. So let's look at the astrology of Libra. Let's look at the key planetary movements. We're not going to look at everything. It's just a general overview to give you the energy of the season. And because astrology blends many moving parts, take this as an energetic sketch. So some bits may resonate more strongly depending on your chart. Some bits might not resonate at all. So just take it with a grain of salt, right? And discernment. So the first movement we have here, it's on the 21st of September, which is not yet officially Libra season. It's still the closing of the Virgo season. Is a very interesting moment, astrologically speaking. Has a lot of potent symbolic meaning, and it's just one day before Libra season begins, so it sets the tone for the whole season, and it closes off the chapter of Virgo. I've talked about this in the Virgo reading video. You can check it out, talking about this alpha and omega transit of the new moons, because we had two new moons in Virgo season, the one in August and then this one that it's culminating at 29 degrees in Virgo. And this is all about closure, of endings, of purification around all the topics that Virgo represents, which is like health, routine, work, service. And we may feel urged to clear the slate before moving into the more relational focus of Libra. And of course, all new moons are new beginnings, but this has a solar eclipse happening, and it's definitely a magnifying turning point. Well, where practical matters may demand attention, so we can step into the new cycles with a new energy, a new clean slate. The fact that Mars enters Scorpio and the Sun enters Libra, of course, in inaugurating this season, but Mars enters Scorpio at the same day. So this brings a lot of intensity, a lot of depth, a lot also of determination to deal with the aspects in life that need more balance. Of course, Libra, that rules relationships, it's related to relationships, and Scorpio, which is the symbolic zodiac sign of passion and power, they combine, and we can expect a lot of magnetic attraction, but also strong confrontations or power struggles, especially in the public, the world stage arena, definitely in the collective arena, but also individually. I wouldn't be surprised if things would of violence and conflict could escalate throughout this transit. And of course, the sun in Libra softens a bit the power of Mars, just a little bit. It softens its sharpness, and invites a bit of negotiation rather than domination. But still, the energy will be very potent, okay? It's not something that we might feel it as very, very dense, individually and collectively. So the next moment of the important astrological aspect will be the 6th of October, where Mercury enters Scorpio also. So here the conversations go deeper. This surface level chit chat won't serve anymore. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have been feeling this, that everything that it's more superficial, more vain, it's not really making its way in the new energy we are experiencing, right? So throughout this transit, expect probing questions and revelations, secrets that begin to be shared or even exposed. Okay, let's see what this means for the collective. But in the Libra season context, this means that relationships can benefit from deepening the communication, bringing more honesty. It's like a bit of 50-50, because also the shadow side of Scorpio and Mercury in Scorpio is manipulation and suspicion. Great. So we're going to talk about the next astrological movement, and it's immediately after this Mercury entering Scorpio and igniting a bit like this need to go deeper in conversations. we have a full moon in Aries at the 14 degrees of Aries. This is the annual Libra Aries polarity. So we have definitely themes of independence versus partnership, self assertion versus compromise. This is likely a peak or a culmination to a lot of relationships. So, probably very conflict driven energy, but also creates an ability to make decisions, change things. This Aries energy brings this potency to just be ourselves, finally speaking our truth with confidence, and things can get visibility. This is very, very good moving forward, but it's definitely intense. Okay. But then for also, Venus will enter Libra on the 13th. So this is more of a sweet moment in the season because Venus is the ruler of Libra and returns home, giving a lot of harmony, beauty, attraction, a lot of feelings of artistic expression are emphasized during this period. This helps definitely to smooth in the tensions from Mars and the full moon, and it's a great time for romance, collaboration, or yeah, just changing your looks, making a makeover. It's a very nice energy for that. Um, the next moment we have Pluto going direct. So Pluto has been retrograde for quite a while, and this is it's gonna go direct in Aquarius, and this where the collective undercurrents will shift in my perspective. So beware of this date, or around this date. It Pluto just entered Aquarius in 2023-24. It was on and off with the retrogrades, and we are still adjusting to its themes. So Pluto is all about in Aquarius. It's gonna affect technology. It's gonna affect social systems, power in communities, and it's all about death and rebirth. So a lot of like collapsing old systems, and the invitation or the opportunity to create new things. With Pluto turning direct during this season, probably there will be some hidden truths or transformative forces that become clearer. And on a personal level or group dynamics, friendships, alliances could experience a breakthrough or even power shifts. Okay, let's see what comes through. I'm very curious for this date. Um, and then to finalize, I don't have it there, but there's also a conjunction between Mercury and Mars on the 20th of October, so finalizing Libra season. Um, and here is like intense conversations might pop up, a lot of debates, arguments. Words carry weight. People may speak with passion or anger. And this is a very sharp transit. It's investigative. It's strategic. It is used well. If it's used well, it's excellent. It's excellent for deeper research or honest confrontation. If it is mishandled, it can lead to yeah, cutting ties, destructive arguments, all those things. So expect intensity in your relationships through honesty, but also through transformation. It's the theme is really go deep or go home. So shallow connections may dissolve throughout this period of Libra. while strong connections may deepen and become very enduring. So, in terms of personal growth, it's time to shed old patterns and step into new ways of being, of relating, especially within groups and partnerships. It's a good season to have those honest talks, but remember the nice, light, balanced side of Libra in being diplomatic and finding common ground, especially throughout the end of the season around the 20th of October. And yeah, Venus enters Libra, is the high note of the season and offers a bit of sweetness, a bit of this harmony that returns to us. And I do feel we're going to experience that in a new way because there was a lot of reflection throughout the retrograde season, throughout the eclipse season. So then we're going to start to feel a bit more a movement forward, let's say. Let's have our temperance reading for this season. Here we're going to go through um, the 9 axes of temperance. So we're going to start with the first one. We start with axis 0, the infinity axis. This is the space of underlying potential, source energy, the unmanifested beginning of all things. This is the starting point, the 0 point, and the ground of being. This is a space before form, before limitation, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. And it's called infinity because it holds the entire of existence in latent form, reminding us that life is actually a continuous cycle of creation, dissolution, and rebirth. So we stand at point 0, where endings dissolve and beginnings emerge. And this season literally starts with a solar eclipse that opens the void, that creates this pause before motion. And from this stillness, the spiral of infinity will awaken. So we are called to move quietly between worlds, in one sense alert, but also attuned to what lies beyond the obvious. We must trust our instincts throughout this season because the subtle shifts in shadow and light will guide us more than logic. Our dreams will be delivering us truths, revealing us unseen paths, and will demand us total honesty. Also, bring some intensity throughout the astrological aspects. We already seen that, but also will give us the courage to speak our truths, to stand our ground, and remind us to soften, to surrender, to create more harmony in our lives. So, infinity here reminds us that no cycle really ends. We are in a spiral of ascending consciousness that can only transform information. So, throughout this Libra season, the infinity axis brings us this instinctual awareness, this subtle perception, this dreamlike intuition to our boldness field of potential. And this means what? That we can move with a natural sense of timing and presence by trusting what feels right even before it can be logically explained. This means that we will be attuned to the undercurrents, the hidden patterns, and the opportunities that might not be visible on the surface yet, but they are available through our intuition, through our subtle bodies. This position 0 is a liminal space, and we thrive in it if we guide ourselves through our imagination, through our visions, through our inner knowing. So, we are encouraged to adapt, to move with the cycles of possibility rather than resisting them. And this energy will definitely help us to perceive our potential, the ideas we have, the paths that are available to us before they take form. So it's time to trust your instincts and subtle senses. Even in the moments of uncertainty or stillness, you are being guided by an inner intelligence that perceives patterns and possibilities beyond the conscious mind. So pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to synchronicities, to subtle signs in your environment. Use quiet reflection or meditation to sense what is emerging before taking action. The advice here is to stay grounded and open to the unseen. We must shed old skins of fear. We must reclaim our sensitivity as a strength and to step into relationships, choices, creations that feel true and timeless. Let's go up in the spiral to the axis 1, survival. Here, we will be asked to face our foundations, how we provide, how we share, how we feel secure. We will be reminded throughout this season that survival is not just a struggle, but it's also the discovery of hidden treasures and the wisdom to use them well. We must trust in the cycles of abundance to claim what is already present but is being overlooked. This season, disagreements over money or resources can arise, so be aware of that. But those disagreements or those difficulties can invite us to redefine security not through possession alone, but through generosity and balance. So we are given the wisdom, the perception, and the foresight to our relationship with security, with resources, and self preservation. Instead of living in a purely instinctual or reactive survival mode, we will be learning to navigate challenges with clarity, with intelligence, and strategic awareness. So we have this clairvoyance. We are given this ability to see beyond immediate circumstances and to anticipate potential outcomes. But we are learning to use our wisdom. We are learning how to not only know how to survive, but to thrive because abundance is everywhere. Only through our programming, we are not able to perceive it as easily because we have been programmed of the exact opposite, that this world is inherently scarce. And that is simply not the truth at all. Scarcity is a perception. Abundance is always present, especially if we trust and act from clarity rather than fear. This season will encourage us to listen to our intuition when making decisions about safety, finances, and personal boundaries. And we are reminded also to be generous, to cultivate a sense of compassion and community, because survival is not only personal. Wise alliances and shared resources strengthen our stability. The more you give, the more you will receive, and it's a dynamic flow of energy. Challenges around money, resources, physical security can become opportunities to cultivate intelligence, adaptability, and wise generosity. So pause before reacting to financial or security concerns. Seek solutions that honor your needs, but also the well being of those around you. We probably will have some financial surprises throughout this transit. So let's move to the axis number 2 that talks about connections, partnerships, interpersonal dynamics. And here we will be asked to pause, to wait, right? In this Libra season, each encounter is a teacher, each disagreement is an invitation to grow. So we are asked actually to be students of life, approaching love, friendship, and partnership not as a stage to perform or dominate, but as something sacred where wisdom is exchanged. Even in disharmonious and conflict situations. When we balance ourselves, we must bring humility, patience, and a willingness to learn from others, to learn from everyone. When we balance ourselves, this can happen. We can learn from everything, we can grow from anything. All the difficulties, all the opportunity, everything is an opportunity, right? When we're out of balance in relationships, usually we slip into ego. We know it all. We cannot, like, nobody knows better than us, nobody understands us. Libra really reminds us that wisdom is a balance between all things. Instead of being impulsive or reactive, we are asked to pause, to observe, and to respond with clarity. We must approach our relationships as teachers, as mirrors, rather than just sources of conflict or gratification. Right? So take time before reacting. Listen deeply to others and to your own inner guidance. Each relationship can really teach you about humility, about your ego, and balance can be restored and revealed in your relationships if you are willing to learn. We are asked to cultivate humility and presence. Conflicts and challenges are actually invitations to grow rather than just battles to win. So, taking the time to reflect and integrate interactions with others will enable us to gather precious wisdom that we'll be needing moving forward. So, throughout this Libra season, really pause before reacting in arguments or difficult conversations. Check in with your breath, with your heart, and try to calm your nervous system down and respond from a place of grounded wisdom. Reflect on what each relationship is actually teaching you rather than what is taking from you. We have an opportunity throughout this season to deepen our relationships by honoring the wisdom that each soul carries, even if we do not agree. And we already are seeing playing out this extreme contrast in the world, right? Surrounding dialogue, surrounding free speech, all those things. So it's going to continue throughout Libra season. And it's up to us to bring harmony and transformation to all these situations. Okay. Let's move forward to axis 3, the self. The position 3 focuses on identity, personal power, and inner mastery. This axis represents how we relate to ourselves at the deepest level, our inner strength, our self awareness, and the ability to navigate life from a place of integrity and authenticity. So, this season, we are here in the brink of release and rebirth. We are reminded that nothing is wasted. So, our old fears, our outdated identities, and our limiting stories, they are ready to be stripped away. But everything that decays literally becomes nourishment for what is new. So it is important to honor this process of transformation. It is important to embrace the purification that this process brings. Because letting go is not loss. Letting go is a way to bring balance, to restore balance in our lives. From this clearing ground, we are encouraged to own our voice, to communicate our truth. Or better, to communicate truth, not our truth. Truth, because truth is objective. And to express our inner song. This is the power of authentic expression, speaking and living from our heart without fear. Whether through words, through singing, through writing, our voice carries medicine, not only for ourselves, but also for others. And this season amplifies relationships, and our truth, spoken clearly, is both a gift and a key to freedom. The mastery of the self is not about forcing things to happen or to be in a certain way. Self mastery is about being present. Because peace and strength live together in us. But when we are disconnected from ourselves and source, we are out of balance. But daily practice, for example, like meditation, grounding, journaling, reflection, these things, they can seem small, but they restore our natural radiance. So in this season, if we want to flow easily, we must carry ourselves with quiet dignity, not letting distractions and confusion lead us into restlessness and chaos. The universe is already clearing what no longer serves our growth. This is a purification. And by letting go of what has decayed, we make space for new strength, new clarity, new opportunities, new life, and new reality. But transformation requires release. Self liberation is possible when we release, when we express, when we embody our strength. So release the dead weight. Speak your truth without fear. Sit in your quiet strength. Because the cage is open. The universe already gave the signal. We only need to walk out. We only need to embody the balance of a self that is both humble and sovereign. So we are being asked to cleanse, to speak, to claim our inner power, to let go of the fear, to express our truth boldly, and step into mastery with calm authority. Because liberation comes from within, and the authentic self is ready to emerge. So identify your old fears, identify your beliefs, see if they serve you or not. And if they don't, just consciously release them. Use your creative expression to clarify and communicate your authentic self. That's the way that we change our reality. That's the way that we create coherence and we co-create with Creator, with God, with the universe, with Source, with the Oversoul. If we are not being our authentic self, our external reality is going to mirror something that it's not us. So we won't feel home, right? Practice patience, practice grounding to cultivate this strength, this sovereignty. One of the reasons we are so lost as a society, as a collective, it's because we are totally ungrounded. We don't know where we are. We have no relationship to nature, to Gaia, to Earth. And the only way to do this is really taking some time with nature, taking some time with your physical body, taking some time to be present, grounded in this reality. in your own reality, not in the distractions of the outside that is very, very far, far away, just within you. And claim your power, claim your voice. Don't be dragged by narratives and stories and dramas that are not yours. Usually, those things are illusions. Usually, what we think is limiting us, it's an illusion. So, this is the invitation, right? To embody strength, to self liberate. Moving forward to axis 4, talks about consciousness. This position represents our awareness, our awakening, our perception, our evolution. Well, we know transformation is underway, right? We all feel it, we all experience it. And we know it's a delicate process, sometimes a very, very frustrating process. But it's also essential. Otherwise wouldn't be happening. In the early stages, consciousness is something very fragile. So we are called to commit, to anchor our growth through our daily practices. Because this transformation, this process of ascension, this process of evolution is not a single leap. It will take time and no time at all. It's a paradox. But it's a repeated devotion to self, to loving yourself. And we've been in such a long spiritual slumber. And right now we need to move. We need to live. We need to initiate this new cycle, this new beginning that is waiting for us. The energy is beneficial, is conducive to this. We need to complete our missions. We are here to fulfill a purpose. This idea that we are here just randomly, it's a lie. Of course not. Have you seen life? It's a miracle. It's amazing. It's like the way we complete our mission and we fulfill our purpose is by putting one foot before the other, right? So this season, exercise, breathe, bring movement, bring ritual to your existence, to your life, because these all ground the awakening process and make it sustainable. Because this transformation is hard. But if we have a rhythm, if we create a structure, if we care for ourselves, it will grow stronger. And it requires steady action. I find it so interesting when people separate things, right? Like, right now I cannot focus on my spiritual um, things. My spiritual path. I cannot. I was like, but the spiritual path is life. How can you not focus on your life? What are you focused on? Right? Spirituality is life, is rooted in action, ultimately. That's what creates the transformation. It's the choices and actions we take, right? It's not something static. It is lived through each choice, each habit. It's lived through embodiment. Right? So, exercise, ritual, All these things are tangible steps that we need to support our consciousness expansion because it grounds our delicate transformation into practical experience. This creates a balanced path of awakening because we have to move between this subtle perception, dreamlike intuition, and then we are guided by strength, by grounded action, right? So the energies throughout this Libra season will invite us to align our daily practices with our evolving consciousness. We need to change, we need to adapt. If you're conscious of something and you're still not acting on it, there's no coherence in your experience. You will experience dissonance. Notice those subtle shifts also. Honor them as signs of your growth because we sometimes are too pushy, too demanding with ourselves throughout our processes. And we don't give ourselves time or even a pat on the back or a hug. We don't cheer enough for ourselves when we do these small yet very significant spiritual achievements. So take tangible steps toward integrating insights into your daily life. Take the time, take the space, make integration an important part of your life. Integration is very important. If we are all in the rat race, if we're all getting information and we don't stop to integrate, to reflect, to meditate, to just sit in stillness and in quietude, to let all those things sink in, we are bypassing a very important part of our evolution, of the cycle of learning, actually. We need to give that time to our body, to our mind, to our emotional body also. Right. I had to take some moments of like, need to breathe. I'm going to drink some water. And we're going to go to the axis number 5. We are reminded here that purpose is found in learning to discern between what is an illusion and what is actually true. So, throughout this season, we must be aware of the pull of our impulses, the tendency to not finish things, the tendency to pursue things that we are really not resonating with. Because all of this creates burnout. Burnout arises when purpose is confused with distraction. When you're actually living your purpose, you do not experience burnout. So, the lesson this season is patience. If you don't know what your purpose, what your mission is, just pause. Pause and examine, where is your energy going? Are you choosing that deliberately? Because it is your responsibility. Because the energy in Libra season is carrying important lessons about discernment, about patience, about true alignment. We might be tempted to chase some hasty goals or focus on shortcuts rather than sustainable paths. So it is very important to have presence so we can exert our focused intention and not get distracted and misled. Also, another thing we are being warned against, it's wishful thinking. This desire for life to be easier or different, this all creates distraction and creates resistance to what is. This a lot of this programming comes from the new age spirituality mindset that brings us to this idea that once you are awakened and you start to develop your consciousness, you'll only see flowers and rainbows and butterflies, and everything is going to be positive and easy and flowy, and you won't have challenge. It's not true. And then we fall into this wishful thinking. Oh, why am I not there? Yeah, because you're here. And here says a lot, right? Wishful thinking is not productive or sustainable. So if you still engage in this, please stop. We are warned against scattering our efforts. We are encouraged to do a careful prioritization of where we spend our energy and why. And of course, like we can learn through our experience, right? Because our missteps, our mistakes are just actually opportunities to refine focus and clarity on what truly matters. But also, then the reality is that a lot of times we already know, and through fear, we still choose the same thing we already know it's not for us. That drains us, that is not nurturing. So, this fixed idea that we are like this, that we take time to learn, that try to remove yourself from all those beliefs this season. Because when we are aligned, we are pulled toward the light, we are pulled towards truth that is authentic, calling. It's authentic inspiration. We are divinely guided, and our purpose becomes something we are naturally drawn to, not forced into. Our true purpose is found in engagement, not in wishing for another life, but creating meaning from the life we already have, we already live in, right? Purpose matures when we slow down, when we align with God, and when we let our desires transform into devotion. So it's time to pause, it's time to discern. The earlier you do this, the easier it will be, because moving forward, things will be things will get pretty chaotic. So if you start to do it now, you get to practice before the chaos, the true chaos. Purpose is not found in desires based on ego. Purpose is not found in quick fixes. It emerges from consistent effort, consistent clarity of intention, and from following what genuinely sustains your growth. And you feel what really sustains your growth. And the rest, let it fall away. The universe will take care. Don't worry. Trust me. Okay, we arrive at axis number 6. talks about our intuition, focuses on the ways we receive insight, we expand our consciousness, and we trust the wisdom that arises from within. And this season, we are asked to be eccentric, creative, alive. Because intuition does not always arrive in straight lines and familiar forms. Instead, intuition speaks through patterns, through paradoxes, through flashes of inspiration. It's definitely not about fitting in. It's more about seeing differently and to trust your inner knowing is to embrace your uniqueness. Because adventure, curiosity, creativity, they're all doorways for deeper spiritual insight. There's still a warning here that vanity or showing off can cloud our intuition if we seek validation rather than truth. So the balance here lies in letting our visionary insights serve connection, harmony, and growth, not just self display. This season, our intuition will bring what we need to perceive and navigate life. And we need that eccentricity, creativity, visionary insight. We need to see patterns that others may miss. We need to embrace a perspective that it's both individual and expansive. When we are evolving, when we are expanding our consciousness, we add things actually. We don't subtract. So we are encouraged to think boldly, unconventionally, to have imaginative solutions. This is what the collective needs. It's not more of the same, it's different, it's unique. And we will see this expansion of our worldview being challenged by the events that will continue to unfold in the collective. Well, we must celebrate the fact that we are different, that we are unique, while integrating it with the whole. That's the beauty of creation. There's space for everyone and everything. But it's very important that we learn really to trust our instincts, trust our inner knowing, even if others cannot immediately see our perspective. Because our intuition is more powerful when we honor our uniqueness, when we embrace curiosity and creativity and adventure. They're not just recreational. They're actually essential tools for expanding consciousness and receiving guidance from your higher self. So notice patterns, notice coincidences in your daily life. There's no coincidences. So when they happen, they're important. What we call coincidence, right? Allow yourself to think outside the box and explore unconventional solutions. Embrace adventure, embrace new experiences, embrace new teachings. Trust your instincts even when they feel unusual or different from the norm. This season is very important that we let our curiosity be our guide. And we move to the axis 7 that talks about service. And here we are guided towards adaptability, loyalty, and subtle intelligence. We must know how to be both the teacher and the partner, how to blend love and cleverness into acts of service that uplift the collective. This Libra season, with its scales, with its relational energy, asks us to look closely as how we serve those around us. Are we offering our true identity? Are we giving from old patterns that no longer fit? There is a need to release attachment to the past. We already know this. Outdated ways of showing up, the childhood imprints of what service should look like, or the roles that we took on for approval rather than authenticity. So we are encouraged to be a stronger partner, a wise teacher, and a loyal ally, knowing when to act and when to step back. Because sometimes helping is actually giving space, not doing anything. Because what we think might help may not be what actually helps. So it's good to observe. It's good to be present and to discern, because authentic service comes from that. It's authentic service doesn't come from obligation to this thing of I'm gonna serve the collective, I'm gonna help people, but it's kind of like ego driven. So it becomes something performative, right? You want the role of the savior instead of genuinely just helping somebody for the sake of the other. And you know, in that, you also receive for yourself. We have to let go of the outdated ways of giving that are based on our childhood imprints. We also need to move past to the past expectations. We are stepping into mature conscious giving rather than serving from habit or people pleasing. Because true service is something clever, it's conscious, is adaptive, is rooted in wisdom and genuine care. And we definitely are encouraged this season to reconnect with those we love in ways that are more balanced, more mutually supportive, and authentic. So it's very important that we let go of roles, of outdated expectations, and we focus on giving in ways that reflect our current self, that reflect our current understanding. Because service is about intelligent, compassionate engagement. It's using wisdom, it's using adaptability, humility, and true discernment to serve in ways that honor both parties. Reflect on where you may be giving out of habit rather than choice. Focus on authentic connection, not attachment. And balance giving with self care. Because true service is something alive, you know? It's not about doing what you think you should do, but it's about meeting the needs of the other with wisdom, with love. And it definitely doesn't mean losing yourself in others. It actually means reconnecting with those you love while staying true to who you are becoming. Yay. And we arrive at position 8. That represents our connection to the divine, to the higher consciousness, and our spiritual alignment. At position 8, Divinity, where the angelic voices come together to guide us to higher truth. Libra season, with its scales of harmony and justice, becomes a sacred invitation to align our spirit with forgiveness, gratitude, compassion, and freedom. The weight of the past does not belong in the present. Forgiveness is not about excusing harm, it is about refusing to let pain imprison your joy. Releasing past pain is a spiritual act. And in releasing the resentment, we liberate our hearts to welcome love in its purest form. So we are invited to open our eyes to abundance because scarcity is an illusion of the earthly mind. Source is infinite. Every breath, every moment, every connection is a gift. Service, generosity, and kindness expand the flow of blessings. The more we give, the more we align with the eternal abundance. And we are unfolded in compassion, which is one of the highest frequencies of the soul. Compassion asks us to see ourselves and others as whole, even in imperfection. Practicing empathy, kindness connects us to the divine energy and attracts blessings. It deepens our alignment with Source. And then freedom is ignited within our consciousness. Every thought, every feeling, every choice can be realigned. If we have chosen fear before, we may choose again. if we believed that we were imprisoned, that we were not enough, not worthy, not capable, we can choose again. We can unlock the gate. Self-love and the awareness of divine guidance is what allows us to liberate our soul and step fully into true freedom. In this season, we are guided towards holistic spiritual awakening. It's like releasing what no longer serves, recognizing and sharing abundance, embodying compassion, and exercising liberated choice, or what we call divine will, which is different from free will. We are invited to align with the divine principles, not only in thought or feeling, but in action. Creating an actual life rooted in love, rooted in joy and conscious freedom. Because divinity is not this distant ideal. Divinity is embodied in choices, in your heart, in your daily alignment. And this season of Libra 2025 asks us to forgive, to express gratitude, to cultivate compassion, to reclaim our freedom. Through this alignment, our life becomes a reflection of higher consciousness, where love, joy, abundance flow naturally. So practice forgiveness for yourself and others to release these emotional burdens. Notice and give thanks for the blessings and the abundance that already exists in your daily life. Cultivate compassion in your thought, in your words, in your actions. And recognize that you always have the freedom to choose love. So we finalize our reading with our conclusion, our final blessing for the Libra season, which is a journey of balance, awakening, and transformation. From infinity to divinity, the message guides us to trust our instincts and navigate survival with wisdom and generosity, to pause, listen, and learn in relationships while still stepping into our authentic selves, to awaken our consciousness through steady practices, aligning with true purpose and embracing our intuition, and to serve with presence, adaptability, and authenticity. And finally, embodying divinity through forgiveness, gratitude, compassion, and freedom. And this is a season to release what no longer serves, to step fully into our truth, to express our unique gifts, and to align with the higher rhythms of love, abundance, and freedom. It is a season that invites us to walk the path of harmony as mastery of balance, where every choice, every act, and every thought becomes a bridge between self and God. So let's take our final blessing from the Namaste Oracle deck. Let's see what blessing is here to finalize this reading and to guide us forward during this season. Here it is. A blessed idea. An idea manifests endless beginnings, but you must act to bring the idea to life. The time is right. Know that the world is full of ideas floating around aimlessly until someone notices and breathes life into them. This is your time to shine. Have faith. Beautiful. This idea of like the action, right? Bringing things to this reality. I love it. This season, come home to yourself. Reclaim your power and your balance. Trust your intuition. Move with patience. Speak and act from love rather than fear. And above all, remember that you are both the keeper and the liberator of your own heart. I hope you have a lovely Libra season. I remind you to please share and like this video. Please follow if you don't. I really appreciate you're here with me, walking towards temperance for a life of peace, of love, and truth. I see you soon. Bye bye.